everyone, welcome to Studious IELTS. My name is Srinder Chaudhary. Today I have a workshop on particular type of questions in IELTS reading which is considered to be the most difficult one by many students, and that is MCQ, which is known as multiple choice questions. Okay, first of all, let me tell you what troubles you face when you are doing multiple choice questions. The answers are quite identical to one another. There are keywords in almost all options available, and you end up confusing yourself with those keywords, and your answers are mostly incorrect because you didn't understand the entire context of the question, the given options, and the information provided in your passage. So in this video I am going to explain all those methodologies through which you can easily solve your MCQs with ease, and you will be able to mark right answers even in your practice as well as in your final examination. So let's move to our workshop, and in this workshop I have taken a particular paragraph, passage I would say, that is beyond the blue line. This is a commonly occurring passage that has been seen a number of times in actual examination of IELTS, and in this there are 4 MCQ type questions which we are going to solve in this workshop. All right, before jumping to the questions, it is important to read the instructions, because in instructions, sometimes in MCQs, they might ask you to mark one answer. Sometimes they also ask you to mark 2 answers. So please don't skip this part. If you do that, you might uh, leave some answers to be marked. So please read it very carefully and then move to the questions itself. Okay, so this is our question number 1 of this workshop. And question number 1 says, the chemical tests indicate that. You will have to complete this sentence in this MCQ form. Okay, how would I find the location? The location will be found with the help of scanning method. Because in scanning method, we got to know about one keyword here, that was chemical tests. And if we have scanned it properly, we will definitely find that in this paragraph, the chemical tests and their outcome has been clearly mentioned. So before going to the answer itself, we will read that particular information very carefully. So please read with me. It says, while the Lapita left a glorious legacy, they also left precious few clues about themselves. A particularly intriguing clue comes from chemical tests on the teeth of several skeletons. Then, as now, the food and water you consume as a child deposits oxygen, carbon, strontium, and other elements in your still forming adult teeth. The isotope signatures of these elements vary subtly from place to place, so that if you grow up in, say, Buffalo, New York, then spend your adult life in California, tests on the isotopes in your teeth will always reveal your Eastern roots. What have I understood from this entire paragraph? That these chemical tests are those tests which determine that when your skeletons will be tested, no matter where you have spent your adult life, what where you were in your childhood is definitely found, because during the growth of your teeth, what elements are included in that, they have also mentioned those elements like oxygen, carbon, strontium, etc., will never go away. So eventually, if those teeth will be tested later on, these will directly tell that where you spent your childhood or where you were actually born. So this is what I have understood here. Now, what is the approach to MCQs? I always recommend that in MCQ part, it is definitely important to eradicate the wrong options. In that way, your right answer will be in front of you very easily. So let's try to make a connection between the text and the options, how we will complete this sentence, the question sentence. So option A says, the elements in one's teeth varied from childhood to adulthood. Now, they said it vary from one place to another place, but what is stored during your childhood will never go away. It will stay there. That's what the paragraph said. Then the isotope signatures of the elements remain the same in different places. Again, no. If we talk about places, they said it varies from place to place. So if it varies, it doesn't remain same in different places. Then they say the result of the study is not fascinating. No, nature of study was never mentioned. Whether it was boring or whether it was fascinating hasn't been talked about at all. Finally, they say these chemicals can't conceal one's origin. Eventually, this is our answer because in the entire paragraph and specifically in last line they said tests on the isotopes in your teeth will always reveal your eastern roots. Where you are originally from will be revealed by these tests. So we have our answer according to such locations. Okay, moving to question number 2. Question number 2 says the isotope analysis from Lapita. Now again you will have to complete this sentence. Okay, before we read the options, we are going to read the text. Okay, what isotope analysis from Lapita does? Isotope analysis indicates that several of the Lapita buried on Ifate didn't spend their childhoods here but came from somewhere else. And while isotopes can't pinpoint their precise island of origin, this much is clear. No doubt their actual location couldn't be found, but there are some answers which has been mentioned here. At some point in their lives, these people left the villages of their birth and made a voyage by sea-going canoe, never to return. DNA teased from these ancient bones may also help answer one of the most puzzling questions in Pacific anthropology. Did all Pacific islanders spring from one source or many? Was there only one outward migration from a single point in Asia or several from different points? This represents the best opportunity we have had yet, says Spriggs, to find out who the Lapita actually were, where they came from, and who their closest descendants are today. So eventually, the whole paragraph, or you can say the outcome of isotope tests or analysis, show that there are a number of questions related to them, and these questions are answered by this analysis. So now let's find our right answer. Okay, first option says these analysis or isotope analysis exactly locates their birth islands. No, they have clearly said that while isotopes can't pinpoint precise island of origin, so it cannot find the exact location of their birth. So this is incorrect answer. Further, it says it reveals that the Lapita found the new places via straits. They found the new places via straits hasn't been talked about as well, right? Okay, further they say it helps researchers to find out answers about the islanders. Yes, Lapitas were some islanders and there were a number of questions which has been answered by these analysis related to them. So I would mark C as my answer, but not before eradicating D as wrong answer. So let's read that as well. It says, uh, from the Lapita leaves more new questions for anthropologists to answer. No. They said they have answered, or this analysis has answered a number of questions, but nothing has been said that more questions have been arised. Right? So you cannot mark D as your answer. So eventually, the whole paragraph that is associated with analysis of isotope share that C is the right answer, because according to it, it is answering a number of questions related to these islanders, Lapita islanders. All right. So this is your right answer. We don't have a specific location for this, please remember, because entire paragraph is answering something related to them. So entire paragraph is your location. You can pause the video, you can read it again, and you can make a connection between option C as well as the given text. Moving to question number 3. Okay, now they are very specific about the location. They have asked a question related to paragraph F. So we have to read entire paragraph here. But before that, what is the question? According to paragraph F, the offspring of Lapita. Offsprings are obviously the upcoming generation or the descendants of a certain generation. They are offsprings, or children we also call offsprings. Okay, so according to them, according to paragraph F, offsprings of Lapita achieved what, did what, something is there. So I can give you a look on options first, because after that you might be able to find your answers a little precisely. So you can see options. Pause here, you can read them. Now we are going to move to text itself. What text says, because I always recommend deep analysis of reading. Without that, you will end up making some errors. So reading is mandatory for everybody. Do read it with me. There is one stubborn question for which archaeology has yet to provide any answers. How did the Lapita accomplish the ancient equivalent of a moon landing many times over? How could they travel so much in the sea? That too many times. No one has found one of their canoes or any rigging, which could reveal how the canoes were sailed. Canoes were obviously the form of boats, so no one could find these to analyze them. Nor do the oral history and traditions of later Polynesians offer any insights. All we can say for certain is that the Lapita had canoes that were capable of ocean voyages, and they had the ability to sail them. They had, there is one information only, that they had some boats which could sail in the seas, due to which they could have such journeys. Okay, this is the statement of Jeff Irwin, a professor of archaeology at University of Auckland and an avid yachtsman. Those sailing skills, he says, were developed and passed down over thousands of years by earlier mariners who worked their way through the archipelagos, archipelagos of the Western Pacific, making short crossings to islands within sight of each other. Now he's talking about those sailing skills which has been passed down from generation to generation, but even that had a limit. They could go to the places which were in the site itself. The real adventure didn't begin. The real adventure was yet to come. However, until their Lapita descendants, now they are offsprings of Lapita, remember that. What did they achieve? Here comes the real location. Near the end of the Solomon's chain, for this was the edge of the world. The nearest landfall, the Santa Cruz Island, is almost 230 miles away, and for at least 150 of those miles, the Lapita sailors would have been out of sight of land, with empty horizons on every side. So they were the ones who extended the limit of going to the places. So they were the ones who could go to approximately minimum. First island that was achieved was 230 miles away, and after 150 miles you cannot see anything. So they were the ones who could achieve the distance that was beyond the sight. So let's see options once again. Okay, option 1 says offsprings of Lapita were capable of voyages to land that is not accessible to view. For the time being, as per my understanding of what descendants achieved, Lapita descendants achieved, I am going to keep it as my right answer. But again, my methodology is to eradicate other options first, then I will jump to the conclusion. So let's make a connection between remaining options. Okay, further they say offsprings of Lapita were able to have the farthest voyage of 230 miles. No, that was minimum they achieved, not farthest. That was minimum distance of another island where they went, but they actually traveled beyond that as well. So that is incorrect option. Then they say they worked their way through the archipelagos of the Western Pacific. I don't think so. This is what they actually mean. This was about previous people, not about descendants of Lapitas. Okay. Then fully explored the horizons. No, this was not talked about. They talked about horizons, but they fully explored it hasn't been mentioned anywhere. Okay, so according to this, my answer will be A. You can establish the connection here by pausing the video, but according to the entire description and the achievements of Lapita descendants, they were the ones who were capable of voyages to land that is not accessible to view. All right. So that's all about MCQs. And in MCQ part, if you apply these methodologies, you will never be confused to choose right answers. And I am sure this video will be really handy for you. Thank you so much.